Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us at this news hour on Equinoxe Television, coming to you live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. Human Rights Watch accuses defense and security forces in the Republic of Cameroon of abusive killing, burning down of homes and other atrocities in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. International Rights Group raised a number of cases in its recent report on the socio-political and security tensions in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon because of the prevailing insecurity. The Civil Status Registration Agency says there are 60,000 children who do not have birth certificates in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, and in the country's economic capital, Douala, inhabitants of several neighborhoods are living in fear and uncertainty after groups of young people stormed some of the neighborhoods, violently attacking inhabitants, wounding some of them before making away with their belongings, and many details coming up. Insecurity continues imposing itself on inhabitants of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In some of the neighborhoods, city dwellers are living in fear and uncertainty after groups of young people violently attacked some of the people, wounding some before making away with their money and belongings. Details with Mala Glory.
This man is a victim of an attack by a group of armed young men, popularly known as Microbe. He is one of the many that sustained injuries when at least 20 thugs stormed the Oyak neighborhood in the Douala 3 municipality. Shops looted, properties destroyed, and locals tortured. There were more than 15 youths, all masked and armed with machetes, ready to harm or kill anyone trying to resist to their orders. With wide arms, they attacked everyone, especially shop owners. Earlier on, just like those in Oyak, the inhabitants of Bonadibong, another neighborhood in Douala 3, experienced the same scenario.
D'armes blanches, les couteaux, machette et câbles d'embrayage des motos. Et bon, les propriétaires de boutiques, c'est eux qui ont reçu les coups. Leur boutique a été pillée, saccagée. Les gars ont emporté les téléphones, quelques objets de valeur.
The people now live in fear and uncertainty, for they can be attacked or killed by these thugs. They call on the public authorities to improve on the security situation in these neighborhoods and the city in general. Since the incident occurred, I'm really frightened. So frightened that I don't know what can happen next. According to the security officials, a meeting has been held and measures taken. The people now look forward to see actions on the field, given that the said individuals keep multiplying the attacks daily.
This has been going on for several years, and despite the security measures taken by administrative and security authorities, the insecurity, the attacks have continued from one neighborhood to the other, and the population now calling on the authorities to take appropriate measures that will put an end to such attacks on the inhabitants of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Now to the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. International Rights Group Human Rights Watch accuses security and defense forces of abusive killings, burning down of homes, and other atrocities. This is contained in its latest report on military action in the two English-speaking regions of the Republic of Cameroon. For me, Armstrong Sander report.
In the August 11, 2022 report, the International Rights Group said Cameroonian soldiers summarily killed at least 10 people and carried out a series of other abuses between April the 24th and June 12, 2022. during counter-insurgency operations in the northwest region. The report said troops also burned 12 homes, destroyed and looted health facilities, arbitrarily detained at least 26 people, and are presumed to have forcibly disappeared up to 17 others. The incident took place in and around the towns and villages of Bello, Chomba, Misong and Dop in the Ngokitunja division. The rights group said it interviewed 35 people by telephone and also reviewed 53 photographs and 16 videos shared directly with researchers showing evidence of military violations. For example, witnesses told Human Rights Watch that on April the 24th, 2022, soldiers from the Rapid Intervention Battalion, the B, outside Ndop in the Ngokitunja division, stopped, severally beat, and then detained between 30 and 40 bike riders who were part of a funeral convoy, allegedly because the soldiers suspected them of being separatists. Senior Central Africa researcher at Human Rights Watch, Ilaria Allegrossi, said instead of protecting the population from threat posed by armed groups, the Cameroonian security forces have committed serious violations against civilians, causing many to flee their homes. She continued that the Cameroonian authorities should conduct credible and impartial investigations into these serious abuses and hold the abusers accountable.
60,000 children without birth certificates in the northwest region of Cameroon, according to the Civil Status Registration Agency. This is one of the consequences of the close to 6-year-long armed conflict prevailing there. Details in this report compiled by Northwest correspondent Mustela.
Birth registration is a human right now threatened in the Northwest region by the socio-political and security crisis. While others lost their birth certificate when their houses were razed, others have never had one as the tense security atmosphere has displaced the service providers. This accounts for over 60,000 children in the Northwest region without birth certificates.
The statistics I have is 60,220 people schooling without birth certificate. This situation is really disturbing.
According to Levi Fongengneba, Regional Coordinator of the National Bureau of Civil Status, the situation calls for urgent action and his service is working.
We are working with all the stakeholders of the civil status, notably at the level of the councils and the secondary sectors, at the same time with justice and health. We equally have the NGOs that are working towards that direction. During my presentation, I made an advocacy that the courts, the various courts, should try to understand so that at least those children should be able to get the solution to the problem. Most of them will writing first school and commentaries. It's not really possible for them to do so if they don't have a document.
As Bomenda joins other African countries to commemorate the 11th African Day of Decentralization and Local Development and the 5th African Day of Civil Status Registration, it is said that the decentralization process is on the move in the Northwest region, given that the policy of the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development moved from fast-tracking decentralization between 2019 and 2021 to citizens' participation.
Now coming up, Lucy Liengo takes a look at the consequences of the increase in food prices in the Republic of Cameroon. Many of the citizens who are living below the poverty line are now finding it quite difficult to put 3 square meals on the table every day. Her report.
11 a.m. at Kilometre 5 in the Douala 2 area. Traffic congestion, which began as early as 7:30 a.m., still continues here. The road users say they are obliged to leave home very early in the morning if they must avoid hold-up at Kilomètre 5. The hold-up is disturbing. No one likes traffic because we need to arrive on time at work, so we are obliged to wake up very early. Especially here at Kilomètre 5, there is a problem because the road is under construction. Car owners who make use of this road most times park their cars and go on bikes. Taking bikes is still not an easy task because bike riders too find it hard to go through the dense traffic congestion.
I take a bike to my shop, so because of the hold up, it's stuck on the road. I'm taking that to my shop. There's no way. Even if you have motor, you park it. I have my motor, I park it, I take bike. But because of this, I stop with bike, I'm taking again.
The hold-up at Kilomètre 5 is caused by the construction of a part of the road in the area. Secondary roads or deviations have been provided, but are full of potholes.
Chacun veut éviter les trous, les nids de poules qu'il y a ici. C'est ce qui fait que
those who make use of this stretch might have to exercise more patience as the road construction here at Kilomètre 5, which began earlier this year, is expected to last 15 months.
That was rather Anabila reporting there on the bad state of road scene in the city of Douala with the case of the Kilomètre 5 neighborhood where the major road is under rehabilitation. Now we come back to Lucy Liengu on the situation of increasing food prices in the country and the difficulties a good chunk of the population now faces because of the increase in food prices. Many Cameroonians, many of them living below the poverty line, are now finding it quite difficult to put food on the table every day. A report.
At 14 markets of Douala, prices of commodities like vegetable oil, palm oil, melon seed, usually known as egusi, and beef, which are highly consumed, face a tremendous increase in prices. A liter of groundnut oil that was usually sold at 1.2 now costs 1.5, 1.6 in some places.
L'huile maillot, on nous vend à 22 000 le carton de 15.
A carton of 15 bottles of mayo oil is sold at 22,000 francs, so we are forced to sell for 1.5. The director of the mayo company said they haven't increased the price of their product. Groundnuts, that is most bought by household women to serve their large population, is now a nightmare to them, who sometimes switch to the consumption of melon seeds. I came to buy egusi this morning to cook, only to realize that there is an increase in prices because a glass that was sold for 350 is now at 500 francs. Life is very difficult for us now. The government should see into this. Sellers, on their part, are equally surprised as they tend to put the blame on some factors affecting supply.
You see, then now when you come now to the market now, you can't add the price for more than what the price is sold in the market, because if you try to add more than that, then you will not sell, and people will not buy. At the end, you have already lost.
Beef that was sold at 2.5 now sells at 3,000 francs, a price that scares customers away.
1 kilo de viande sans par exemple, c'est 3.500. C'est facile pour un jeune de rationner 3.000.
It is not easy for people who come to buy because they complain of the drastic increase in prices. If a woman is given 5,000 francs to get foodstuffs and beef costs 3,000 francs, she cannot cope, so she is forced to switch to something cheaper.
Si une femme prend déjà 1 kilo de viande à 3.500, ça va faire comment?
A great malaise to many who complain that the increase greatly affects the poor, thus are worried on how a person will survive if the upsurge continues.
5 government ministers were speaking to the press yesterday in the country's political capital Yaoundé on the problem of the increasing cost of living in the Republic of Cameroon, and the ministers of trade, water and energy resources, agriculture, scientific research and innovation, communication were speaking to the press yesterday on the measures that the government is taking to solve this problem. Details with Malaglory.
According to the National Institute of Statistics, the cost of food in Cameroon has experienced a 9.8% increase between March 2021 and March 2022. The increase in the prices of basic commodities and other materials has affected the cost of living. It is for this reason that Cameroonian ministers assembled in Yaoundé during a press conference to discuss a way forward.
The budget extension approved by the head of state under the ordinance of 2nd June 2022 to supplement some provisions of the finance law of the Republic of Cameroon for the 2022 financial year has raised the amount of subsidies for petroleum products from 120 to 480 billion francs CFA, an amount that could be increased if circumstances so warrant.
Presided over by the Minister of Communication at his ministerial cabinet, Minister René Emmanuel Sadi went forward to emphasize on the reduction of taxes on imported goods.
The government has taken some easy measures, including the exemption of reduction of taxes and custom duties on the imports of certain products that are mainly affected by the risk of inflation, including wheat, iron products, crude palm oil, rice, fish, construction materials, just to name a few. It is worth mentioning the decision to reduce the down payment of income tax by 50%.
Locally made products, however, will be promoted, says the minister, in order to encourage its consumption.
The government has done well to guarantee access of consumers to locally made products through the temporary suspension of the exports of certain products to neighboring countries and promotional campaigns to sell products at low prices throughout the national territory.
The minister says the increase in the prices of basic commodities and other materials caused by coronavirus and further worsened by the war in Ukraine is less disastrous in Cameroon compared to other countries. He promised that permanent measures will be made in order to contain the situation.
Now let's see how some Cameroonians have been compelled by the difficult employment situation of the country and of course the rising unemployment to become job creators. And this is what they ought to have been, but because of the educational system, according to some analysts, there are more job seekers leaving the professional and higher institutions of learning across the Republic of Cameroon because of the jobless nature. Some of them have started thinking otherwise, creating jobs, employing themselves and working to employ others. A case in point in this newscast is the 26-year-old master's degree holder in Komsamba in the Mongo Division, littoral region of Cameroon. Take a look at what he does. Innocent reports.
The number of unemployed graduates in Cameroon rises every year. Many of them get frustrated and tend to engage in odd jobs. Others prefer self-employment. This master's degree holder, Leticia, 26 years of age, in Komsamba, Mongo Division of the littoral region, for instance, prefers to produce natural fruit juice. She got into self-employment because since she deposited her job applications in different enterprises, she didn't receive any feedback. Even her mother is disappointed. She thinks it was just a waste of time, money and effort educating her child in this country. Laetitia has an obligation, which is to put food on the table. She needed to start up the juice production business. As it goes, nothing good comes easy. Laetitia has to face numerous challenges. At times, she feels discouraged, like letting go of this business. Moving up and down to sell is hectic, and many people prefer drinking beer in bars. Another discouraging factor, according to Leticia, is the lack of government support. If the state was assisting, she is certain youths like her would not have to worry and stress up their parents. Production and distribution will be flexible. Efforts which Cameroonians think should be supported by the state. They need assistance to grow. Support is a way of fighting unemployment of these youths. It will encourage consumption of homemade drinks or goods. Leticia gets her supply from Leone, where pineapples are greatly grown and sold at a reduced cost. She does the transformation by herself to have a natural juice.
Le 100% naturel, le made in Cameroon.
An expert in diet encourages the consumption of fruit juice, like Leticia's self-produced pineapple drink. Pineapple is a very nutritive fruit. It is rich in vitamins like vitamin B1, B6 and vitamin C. It is also rich in minerals like calcium, copper, thiamine, potassium, folate, magnesium, iron and others. These nutrients help the body process energy from the food you eat. They also form new red blood cells which carry oxygen to your body organs and tissues. The nutrients help shorten viral and bacterial infections and strengthen the bones.
Ou bien permet d'empêcher la coagulation du sang dans les vaisseaux sanguins.
Leticia, her mother, health experts and other Cameroonians beg government authorities to approach the struggling youths and support such initiatives financially and materially, not solely for large-scale production, but also to reduce the alarming unemployment rate in Cameroon.
Experts encourage young people to do same because the white-collar jobs they are looking at and expecting will certainly not have them a long way, and government is now reducing the number of persons it is recruiting into public services. And the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms now explains the reduction in state personnel or those who are going to be recruited into the public service and the reasons behind this decision to reduce the number of persons recruited into the public service in Cameroon. Take a listen.
The number of openings has decreased compared to last year, mainly due to budgetary constraints that the state is facing as a result of the particularly severe global economic situation. Secondly, competitive examinations into certain corps have not been advertised this year, contrary to previous years. Indeed, owing to the need to streamline the state's human resources, recruitment projections for the current year have only targeted certain administrative, financial, and technical service corps in view of the priorities outlined in the National Development Strategy. 2 selection tests for the recruitment of 100 Grade 1 technical and vocational education instructors and 100 midwives. The remaining opening include recruitment into education colleges and the special recruitment of high education lecturers by MINESUP and contract grade 1 teacher by MINEDUP as usual.
Cameroon's Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee, speaking there. Now in news out of the Republic of Cameroon, there is tension in Sierra Leone as we speak. Protesters are on the streets, and the anti-government protesters have been clashing with forces of law and others, many of them demanding that the president of that country should step down over the challenges that the citizens are facing, and according to them, failure by the government to meet their needs. We'll be updating you on this happening in Sierra Leone. Now in sports, the president of the Confederation of African Football has congratulated Cameroon for hosting the Africa Cup of Nations with a difference. Dr. Patrice Motsepe made the declaration during the 44th General Assembly of the Confederation of African Football in Arusha, Tanzania. At the General Assembly meeting, CAF announced the launching of a new competition named CAF Africa Super League. Smart Jikan Gebre reports.
The Confederation of African Football's 44th General Assembly meeting that took place in Arusha, Tanzania, was an opportunity for CAF's president, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, to congratulate Cameroon for the hosting of the Africa Cup of Nations earlier this year. According to Dr. Patrice Motsepe, the Nations Cup in Cameroon was the most successful in the history of CAF, as 500 million people in 160 countries watched the tournament, 40 countries more than 2019 AFCON. CAF also recorded 1.4 billion streaming and 351.4 million online video views. In the course of the General Assembly, CAF looked at its financial situation, which wasn't the best, and a resolution was taken to find new sources of income. It is in this line that CAF will next year launch the African Super League, which will involve the first 24 African clubs according to FIFA rankings. The competition will cost $100 million, with each team expected to get $2.5 million, while the winner takes home $11.5 million. The Cameroon Football Federation is expected to pay each CAF member country $1 million each per year from the CAF Africa Super League funds. Morocco also expressed their desire to host the Women's Africa Cup of Nations come 2024, since no country has shown its interest. The General Assembly meeting ended with a call for all CAF member countries to throw their weight on FIFA's president, Giovanni Vincenzo Infantino, in next year's election, whose elective General Assembly will take place for the first time on African soil in Kigali, Rwanda.
And that's it for today. Do stay with us if you can.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.
If you suspect you may have a coronavirus infection, please call your healthcare provider in advance and let them